welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout. Our levels are loud right now. There, I think I correct them. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Reid Wilkins with you here on the Hangout on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio as well as those watching on YouTube. I did a board change, an equipment change over the weekend. If people are listening to the Nielsen show, it may have sounded a bit different, a little bit more crisp.
Good.
A little bit more bassy, if you will.
I know there's a lot of clicking you had to do to start the show. I don't have to do that to start the Reid Wilkins show with Jay Milne.
No, you get a producer.
So well. Okay,
you get a producer. I'm the producer of this show.
Be the talent.
Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about that part. But I took the old board from the main studio and I switched it with the board here in the Hangout. So this is show one, and I couldn't fully test it because I needed this board for green and gold.
Are you saying we're evolving as we step into season year 2?
Well, it's not evolving, because evolving would maybe be getting the same board that we had in here for the other room and buying brand new, and I just flipped them around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
whatever works,
But
Matthew.
the best board was the one that was used for 2 hours a day as opposed to the one used for the majority of the other shows.
I just want Reid to be happy.
Thank you. I also want to be happy.
Okay.
Are you happy?
Yes.
No volume on Reid's mic.
Oh, now he's not a happy camper. Look at Zacticum stepping in. Zacticum, by the way, can I say something? Zacticum was excellent yesterday at the tailgate. He handled the situation very well. Riedrich, I'll say this to you. The Alan Jackson experience took over our tailgate spot.
All right,
I don't get mad about these things, but I'm very proud of what we've established in the tailgate, and the tailgate being what it is.
Yep.
You've seen it. You go to the games.
Actually, they've done a good job.
They've done a very good job, and I was a little bit worried
Reid to talk to his mic quickly.
Yeah.
about the tailgate.
So the Alan Jackson experience, that's an Alan Jackson impersonator?
Yeah, he
Cover
sang
guy?
the national anthem. He did a good job.
Speak closer now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still learning about
anyway.
how mics work.
I thought Zacticum handled a stressful situation very well. I had to go see Jay and Andrea and their tent to see what was going on. I'm like, where the hell's Zach? Where's our tent? And they're like, they're in 43. And I went and saw Zacticum, and he could have been frazzled, and he wasn't. So it was good.
That's good.
I just want to give him props for
Well, a young, promising broadcaster, which is good. And as I'm sure he's learning, and this is really across any profession, really. So I don't want to say, oh, this is just a skill you need in broadcasting. The ability to improvise and deal with things on the spot without always, I guess we're just screwed today, or I got to call my boss. The ability to just do it and figure it out. Kids, that's an important skill. Where's the mic?
Look
kids,
at them.
Kids, this is your PSA for today. Kids, be strong under pressure, and you'll always be employed.
You're also looking for the camera, not
Yes,
the mic.
that is true.
There's very big difference.
I also want to say this because
I've got his levels going. We're all good.
because
I'm pretty sure.
there's been so much. A lot of it is rightful criticism, but there's been so much negativity around the Elks for the last few years. I will say this: what they've been able to do with that tailgate stuff. I mean,
It's fantastic.
that's how I walk to the game with my mom and dad over that hill and through that parking lot. We don't go super early, so a lot of it's winding down when we go.
Yep.
But I mean, man, oh man, that was the largest tailgate crowd I think I've seen yesterday. Now I've missed a couple games, I didn't see the home opener because there was a Stanley Cup final game the same day. But
Yes.
but that people go out there, it's good. It's a good vibe. Now it's too bad there aren't more inside the stadium. We'll see if that changes here. But it's been good. I really like that tailgate vibe.
Can I say something about the tailgate? The succulent meats that are grilling are phenomenal.
I wasn't expecting you going there. Of all the things to say about the tailgate, I wasn't expecting succulent to be the first words that came out of your mouth on that one. But
I am just blown away. I go pop in, and I want to go see the Zach.
Yep.
I haven't seen Trev there. Trev's been tied up, and he gets there a little bit later. But like the food that is available is amazing, and there are now people from other CFL markets. They're like, hey, I'm hearing that Edmonton has a great tailgate, and before it was Calgary, and now all of a sudden, like, Edmonton's getting this vibe, and the vibe is an important thing because we talk about what the Riverhawks have done and continue to do. When I flew home on Saturday night, thank you, my mom, Eva G, driving me home. The ballpark was full as I was crossing the bridge, and my mom's like, "This is beautiful. Look at this." And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a baseball game going on right now. They're in the playoffs." She's like, "Oh my God." Vibe. And that was the word that I kept hearing about the Riverhawks. And listen, we go to the games, right? Like, we go to Riverhawks games. We went to a couple this year. Vibe. Everyone talks about the vibe. Price point, this and that.
Yeah.
The tailgate is a vibe.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay. I wasn't sure we were going to go here, but since you brought it up, I'll
go
there.
Go.
First of all,
Take
the
it.
Riverhawks have done a great job.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. Is this a best of three they're in? Because they were on the road yesterday.
Best
So they
of
had-
three. It's 1-1.
So they had one home game, and then they're on the road for the other two.
Well, they lost yesterday, so tonight's the big night. It's on Edmonton Sports Talk. You can catch it later tonight.
Yeah.
But and look, I've known Steve Hogle for a long time.
He was my boss.
They've done a great job. Randy Gregg, obviously, and all the other group that have done the Riverhawks. They have done a good job. But all they're selling is the vibe, because nobody cares who wins the games.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie's been talking about that.
Okay, so I'm glad.
But you're right.
I'm glad
But you're
somebody's
right.
with me and says it publicly.
It's hard to compare. Like, I feel bad for the Elks when the comparison's made. Like, look at what the Riverhawks are doing.
Yes,
versus
because
Elks.
there really
Because when you
should
walk
be a
away from an
comparison.
Elks game, if the win-loss matters.
Yes.
If the Elks lose a game,
And
people
yes.
immediately just are pissed off and they're angry. The Riverhawks lose a game, you walk away, what a great night.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't wrong with that, but it's still
you
a
then
different
can't compare
level.
the two
It's a
fully.
different level
Fair
of
point.
commitment and passion in the city. I mean, people talk about Jones and quarterback decisions and why did they blitz and who do they play next and when are they going to win.
That's a good point.
I have not heard anybody, even people who go to a lot of Riverhawks games, ever talk about why'd the manager do that. Who's pitching tomorrow?
They pulled this starter too soon.
We should steal something. This is kind of mean.
Go.
It's not mean.
You
It's
go.
a
Do
little sarcastic. Sid Smith told me in the late 90s when he was hosting Inside Sports on Ched. And Dave Campbell, who was then my producer, was like the technical op, playing the commercials and getting the guests and working the levels. That's why I'm doing that. They had a contest called Name a Driller. The Drillers indoor team, which you remember.
I do remember.
Which are great.
Sergio Maione.
Good
paisan.
Carmen D'Onofrio.
Yes.
But those are the only two I remember. Nicola, what was the guy? They were brothers from Serbia or Croatia. Nikola Vinovic, and then he had a brother. So they had a contest, name a driller. All you had to do, that was the contest. Call in and name an Edmonton driller.
Okay.
Like, name a Riverhawk. Even if you've been to 10 games this year, name a Riverhawk.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you've been to a few games, you'd get some stuff for osmosis. Now, they've done a great job because it is a great ballpark. They've taken advantage of the location. Mm-hmm. They got the Alley Cat beer, right? I think they have a lot of Alley Cats.
They
got an Edmonton
I've
brewery,
had a few of those.
which is great. I mean, I wish the Oilers could do that instead of having the deal with, I think it's Molson. They have to have Molson products,
Which extends into the Ice District.
right? Which is unfortunate. Because I think I'm not just saying it'd be great to have local breweries exposed at an NHL game. So it's still different. It's still not a valid comparison to me.
The only comparison I will go with, because as Tom was saying, and it went, there's where you could compare the two. It's the vibe part. The Elks need to be cool again. The Elks going to Commonwealth needs to be fun again.
But winning
which
is
what
still
you
a
have with the
priority
Riverhawks.
there.
Winning is the number one thing
Right.
for the
And
Elks.
I mean, it's just
if they
like-
keep losing football, or not keep losing, they're winners of 2 straight. But if they go out and just start losing again and keep losing, it doesn't matter what you do vibe-wise. People are going to want to come out.
Right.
But once they start winning, if they could keep this consistent, that's great. But you also want a vibe.
Yeah.
Because then we get back to the real problem with the Canadian Football League is how do you get the youth involved? How do you get the youth coming out long term? And that's where the Riverhawks have done that with the vibe part.
Yes.
The Elks need to match the vibe part.
Right, and
but once again,
ticket
that is
prices.
number 2 for the Edmonton Elks.
Right.
Number 1 is winning, whereas the Riverhawks, vibe is number 1. Winning's probably 3 or 4.
Right. Well, but see, here's the thing where I'm kind of unqualified to speak about this, even though I obviously attend a lot of sporting events through my
Anyone
job.
that's sitting in the hangout room is completely qualified for anything we talk about.
But with Elks, I have season tickets. But I always would say this on Inside Sports to the point that I would joke about it. And I did one of my best bits a few years ago on the Super Dogs, how they weren't actually that super.
You had an issue with the Dogs?
Yes.
How dare you?
Well,
Get out.
They underperformed.
What do you mean they
made a lot of us?
underperformed?
Okay,
They were awesome.
No, if you're a super dog, then you have to complete the drill. Not like I could get my dog to run out there and go off course and not listen to commands.
Well, then why was your dog not a super dog?
I have a dog that can do that.
This one time I saw the super dogs, a lot of them messed up.
Wow.
But see,
Hot take.
I don't. Okay, so so the things I attend regularly, every Oilers home game. I'm not there as a ticket buyer or as a fan, so I watch the promotions or some of them. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Elks, I've had seasons tickets since 1997. I really don't care about the Boston Pizza Shuffle or the Tim Hortons Shuffle or the babies racing as dinosaurs. So that was actually kind of funny.
There were horses on the field last night.
And quite frankly, they were
one.
explaining the rules of rodeo. I know the rules of rodeo because
I don't.
I covered rodeos.
Oh.
So,
In Lloyd.
yes. So I really don't feel qualified to speak about that because if I went to a sporting event and it was just the game and during TV timeouts nothing happened, I would actually be fine with that. I really would.
Okay.
Now, at U of A hockey games, I often do chuck a puck, but that's during the intermission. And I fail
respect that very
miserably.
much. No,
I'm with
chuck
you.
that puck.
I'm the same type of person. I'm there to watch the sport, but I know most people aren't that way. Most
They
people
want
aren't
something.
that.
They want to feel value added.
Well, and like when you look at football and baseball would be in the same thing. How much actual game time do you get watching? Hockey, you get 60 minutes. Hockey,
Yeah,
it's a
true.
full 60 minutes. Football,
It's
I think
like
Balls
15?
would play like 7 or 8
it's
minutes.
like like baseball is like only like 9 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Actual game time, you actually watch something happen.
Right.
Football's a little bit higher than that. I believe it's
Oh,
a
is it?
little
I
bit
thought it
higher.
was under 10.
Is it
Okay.
less? Okay, but in the end,
don't know.
especially those two sports, you get less than 20 minutes of both of them of
Yeah.
actual playing time that you
Yeah.
got to watch.
Right.
So if I'm that person who's casual, like, well, why am I, like, I'll just sit at home and I can flip my channel around and I can watch a bunch of different things at once. Why am I at this game? And that's where I could understand for a lot of people, they want the fun time. And that's where tailgate matters, but then you need more in the stadium. So it's not just sitting there and, okay, we've got a TV timeout because it's the 3-minute warning at the end of the first half and I'm just going to sit here. I get why some people would be like, well, I need something else. I'm with you. I don't need that personally, but we're insane.
I got to say this. I was really impressed last night at the Elks game. There was a kid. He might have been 10, max. He was in the row ahead of me and a little bit off to the right.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, did he know the roster. Like, he was with his mom, and, like, Leak got a good run, and he was like, should have seen him last game. And then,
Well, yeah.
And then when they
I love that.
And then when they kicked the field goal on 3rd and inches at the end, he was like, well, now you're up 17. You could have got the first time. Like, this kid's not even like good. This is good. This is what we need. We don't need the kids at the games who are just running around, blowing bubbles and chewing gum.
Yeah.
We need the kid that knows the roster and knows the strategy. Thank you to that kid.
I appreciate that. I really do. But you know what? That probably harkens back to a young Reid Wilkins.
Yeah, I would have been like that for sure.
You would have
Yeah.
why didn't we go? Why didn't we get Prue Cup in there for the 3rd and inches?
I used to get mad like when we'd play sports at recess.
Yeah.
And my classmates, and there were a couple other kids like me, like didn't know the proper rules. Like we used to play. I remember this for a while. We'd play football.
Yeah.
But they would set up like boots as like the goal. So if you ran, you had to run through the goal like in soccer. And I was like, that's not football, guys. Like, it's the whole goal line. They'd be like, no, there isn't. There's a net. I'm like, no, there isn't. Not like I was like 7. I was like, no, there isn't. Not in football. So like I remember like guys would run and they'd go like into the end zone and then like try to cut back and get in. I'd be like, those aren't the rules. I'd be like, the play's over.
Yeah.
And people would be like, and there'd be like one guy who was like on my side, like, yeah, no, Reid's right. Like, I watched the game on the weekend. I'm like, and then I would just get beat up.
Who's going to be a bigger stickler for rules than at EST? Is it going to be Reid or me? We're adding another rule stickler here.
It's you.
Are you sure? I have somebody who could join me. We could join forces here, Reid.
He will recognize them, but he won't enforce like you do.
Do you enforce rules?
in sports or in life?
Well, a combination of both, and in the workplace, we're doing things.
I think there are certain procedures that are important to follow.
See, I think he's going to be on my side. I think I'm going to have someone else here with rules that...
I don't disagree with any of this. It's just I don't get bent out of shape about
I'm not saying you, but I get bent out of shape over people not following rules.
No, I know.
And now I might have somebody who will join forces, or he'll tell me stuff and I'll just go for it.
Well, it depends on the rule and how...
I'm just glad he's here.
How not following it would be possibly disruptive in the workplace.
All right.
Anyway, thank you to that kid who knew the team very well.
He's crushing cornflakes and reading the stat column in whatever's left of the newspaper.
That's how I learned to read.
That's how I did it.
Like, you
Sunday
look at box
sports
scores of the paper.
Every day.
Well, Sunday sports and baseball gave you like the full team stats.
Oh.
So you could really go into that. But the sports paper every morning, kids these days won't know what it's like to have to look at those box scores to see things. And like you couldn't just go on after the game yesterday and look at how did Dylan Mitchell do? You had to wait for the box score the next day to look at it.
Yeah, like looking at like, can you imagine that? Was it not Tuesday that the Journal did the big stats stuff?
Yes,
was it Tuesday?
It was like, what was it, like 5 pages?
Yeah,
of
just stats
across every league.
Hockey was a big
Europe.
You'd be like, who's leading the NHL in scoring? I'm not totally sure.
Well,
like you'd probably know from Saturday they'd reference it on Hockey Night in Canada, but what happened in the 2 days since then?
Yep,
that's a totally different as opposed to looking on your phone during a game and getting everything live. I miss those days, like getting up. Looking the next one, and when I was a kid, you couldn't watch NFL by Evansburg. I mean, unless you had a big satellite dish. So I remember, well, they might show in the playoffs. They might show a game a week, CTV or ITV, I think. But
when I was younger, Global was the rights holder, so they'd you'd watch The Simpsons for a little bit, and then it would go to the NFL afternoon game.
Yeah. So looking on Monday and actually seeing the box score, and I remember. In the NFL box scores, they would always list missed field goals at the bottom and the length. So it would have missed field goals, Kearney, 43, Do you
know what always fascinated? I would look at the box scores, and they always had referees and attendance. Mm-hmm. And I always looked at that for whatever reason. I looked at referees, and I'd be like, oh, that was a Rob Schick game. I'm 9 years old.
That's great. I bet you that Langway hooking at 1707 wasn't a hook.
What happened in Tampa last night? Well, Kerry Fraser called 14 penalties. Attendance 9,732.
I always looked at the attendance too.
I
didn't look at the refs, but I always looked at attendance.
Yeah, Kerry Fraser.
18.
Did you ever interview Fraser?
18-4.
No, I heard he's great. Where? 18-4 where?
Commonwealth yesterday.
It seemed like there was more people there.
They announced 18. It was just shy of 18.
Mostly on the west side, I think, due to how hot it was.
Everybody's sitting on the non-TV facing side, which doesn't always look great either. No, it seemed like there were more people yesterday than a couple other games, which was good.
Yeah.
And then the next game for them is home game. Will be the Labor Day rematch.
It'd be great if they could open the upper deck, but that's probably too far.
Depends
what they do in the next 3 games.
No matter what, I wouldn't open it up. Let's get to Hangout Headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time today by going to theranchgolf.com. We'll get into this Elks game from yesterday. But before we talk about it fully, for me, this year, I said it from the start, I'd want a couple games from the Elks where you could open up the upper deck and you say no. You build that demand. You build that, hey, you should have got your tickets earlier, and it forces people to, I want to go see the next game. I got to get my tickets a little sooner. This year, I would never open that upper deck in my mind. Now, will they have that problem to have? Well, to have that, they got to go win a few more games, but what a game by this team yesterday. The moment Trey Ford goes down, you wonder, what is this team going to do? And MBT was a really good QB2 for them yesterday. Threw the one pick in the end zone, but for the most part, he played quite well, moved that ball. The team got a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter to extend that. The defense, now maybe just Jake Dolagala, but the defense came to play a little bit again yesterday. Mm-hmm. And they did rather well. And while Jake Dolagala isn't the best QB, and I was wrong, I thought he was going to do better, there's talent on that. There's weapons. There's Hatcher, there's Hollins, there's McInnes, there's William Stanback, and the defense didn't allow that BC Lions team to really do much.
I've been really impressed with Ford. Obviously, his scrambling helps, but he's running an offense, which he didn't always do last year, especially against the better teams.
Yeah.
I know the other teams had backup quarterbacks that they've beaten, but they've beaten the top 2 teams in the West, which last year their 4 wins were. I mean, let's face it, there were 5 below average or poor teams last year. It was kind of a weird year in the CFL. There was like 3 good ones. Montreal was in the middle and then got hot.
Yep.
And Edmonton, Ottawa, Hamilton, Calgary, and Saskatchewan were all kind of bad. And the Elks wins were against those other 4 teams. I just, and now with the better run game, I think Ford helps that. And you just see now that he seems a little more comfortable in the pocket, what a threat he is. Well, we know what a threat he is, but just a couple specific plays. There was that one blitz off the left side, so his right by BC, and he's very unique in that he will scramble to the side the pressure came from, even if it's to his left.
Right.
Now that time he went to his right, and then he's so quick. Was it Lee that it might have been Lee that blitzed on that one? I can't remember. But once Ford is away from him, Lee's out of the play. The blitzer is out of the play. It's not like he can recover and maybe still chase him down from behind. So that was the one he rolled to his right and then threw about a 20-yarder to Tevin Jones.
Tevin Jones had a huge.
And then there was another good scramble. But then I know on the play he got hurt, and I heard you guys talking about it after the game last night. Should have he thrown that away? Does he need to learn there? If that's a playoff game, he probably keeps playing, even with whatever, was it ribs they said that happened to him?
Listen, there's some people that were saying head, but I saw him pointing.
He was walking around like this.
I saw him pointing to his ribs. I was on the sidelines walking, and he kept pointing to his ribs. So
and they showed it on the TSN broadcast. He was trying to throw, I think, after half or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could see he was just painful.
Couldn't
there was a
torque.
pain on the throw. It wasn't that he couldn't throw. There was clearly just some sort of discomfort or something he was dealing with when he threw that football.
Yeah.
So they kept him out.
And they went, he's being evaluated, and I was all over Nanso yesterday on the sidelines, and I apologized to him after. I'm like, sorry, man, we needed updates. They elevated him to questionable.
Yeah.
Right.
By I think like the 4th quarter, and he put on his helmet a couple of times, but you knew he wasn't going back in.
Well, but that's the fact that he stayed on the sideline in uniform the entire game leads me to believe it's not serious.
Yeah,
leads me to believe this isn't 3-4 months of some sort of injury. If it was a bigger issue, I think he's being looked at. I think they're doing stuff. The fact that he comes out, he's throwing, then he stays out there in full gear says, okay, is this maybe 3-4 weeks we're looking at?
Yep.
As opposed to 3-4 months.
It might not even be that.
Well, I hope he can play on Saturday.
Yeah. From what I understand, they were just being very defensive or protective of him.
Okay, I'll throw do you play him Saturday?
Yes. If he's healthy, he plays.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I'd hold him off for Montreal.
Play him. I don't.
I'd give him the extra week. I think MBT is good enough to go get that victory against Hamilton.
Do you think everything else is clicking with the team that MBT can lead them to a win?
Here's why I go with yes. I answer that with yes. Is the running game was still good with MBT. We saw it later. Leak and Rankin still were able to be productive rushing that football.
Yeah.
One of the keys to that was they were given the ball to go run. But, one of the things we believe is that Trey Ford comes in and he opens up the run, and he does. But it's not like the moment MBT went in, all of a sudden they couldn't run the ball anymore either. So I think that there's still that. I think this team just has that confidence and a little bit of extra swagger. And I do believe MBT is a guy that is pissed off that he lost his job, that he's going to come out. He's also going to be pissed off that it was to Hamilton.
Yeah.
You get the revenge game. You get to go up against Taylor Powell as a defense. It's not Bo Levi Mitchell. It's a team that's a little bit reeling since that victory against Edmonton. If I'm the Elks and I'm looking at trying to make the playoffs, this is a game where I sit there and go, you want to know something? I'll give Trey this 2 weeks off type thing here to get ready for Montreal. We should be able to go win this game with MBT.
No,
Trey wants that hometown game.
Play for it.
He wants that.
They already lost
game.
to them with. They already lost to them with MVT.
Yeah,
I know.
And the thing. And look,
but I don't want to rush Trey back. That's the thing. I don't want to rush him back where then he takes
90% or better. You play him, I think. But this is the. I mean, it's so weird talking about MBT because when they were 0-4, he was fine. He was one of the best players on the team.
Yeah,
except to Montreal. Montreal was awful. I stand by that one.
I don't remember that well.
Threw 2 picks. They were bad throw picks.
He didn't drop a touchdown pass like Dylan Mitchell did in the fourth quarter.
But he also underthrew his receiver and had 2 picks in those.
Oh, the one was. But anyway, he was quarterback play was at the very least acceptable, if not good, through the first 4 games. Starting in game 5, he started to decline. But the one thing we saw last night, a couple times when BC blitzed, I can't remember if they actually got a sack, but there was definitely a couple he just had to throw in the dirt because he had to get it off so quick.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Ford. He can beat the blitz. I mean, yes, he will get sacked, and sometimes he will take losses, but he might get a home run play off a play that looked hopeless when the other team comes through a good blitz. So that, to me, that's the biggest difference. I mean, pure quarterback play, like you can almost see the gears turning in MBT's head. Like he's a smart guy. Like you see him, okay, on this play, I'm going to turn my shoulders deliberately to the right and throw to the right. So 2 plays later, I can deliberately turn my shoulders to the right and set up and then turn back and throw it to the left. Yeah. Like you can see all the little things that he does. But Ford's playmaking, and I don't know if the run would be as open if MBT was in there the entire game. I don't know if it would be. And I thought that was a really good detailed text that somebody wrote you guys last night about BC's front seven maybe being too small and how Winnipeg crammed it down their throats when they had a couple big games last year. So I don't know how big Hamilton's front seven is, but I do think having Ford in there the entire game helps the run game as a whole.
Oh, 100%. I'm not going to dispute that. I'm going to, if I was Jarius Jackson and I'm still looking at this season, I'm probably going to be a little extra protective of Trey Ford. Just so that they didn't put him out there yesterday. I would maybe look at if 90% better, let him play. If he's around 80, I'm giving him that week. I feel that I'm confident enough from Jarius Jackson that I could go get that victory against Hamilton with MBT as the quarterback. Because this team is just playing better all around. The defense is better right now. They're playing better. And if you go, why did they lose those first 4 games this season? His defense was poor, largely. Well, now they're not playing that way. And I would give him that rest to get ready for Montreal because I want Trey healthy for that Labor Day set. Because that is where this season's going to be defined. It's starting in September because they got 2 against Calgary, 2 against Winnipeg in the month of September. Well, they need to go 3-1 right or 4-0 in that. Yes. And I want to make sure Trey Ford is healthy for that because that's going to decide whether the Edmonton Elks are in the playoffs or not.
Well, they have to go 6-3 the rest of the way because eight wins this year will probably get you in.
That's where I don't know if it'll. 8 is a little tight to me. Even I feel like you're almost close to 9, but yeah, 7's not.
I don't think it'll be last year when 7 got you in because, like I said, there were those 5 teams that were all really poor. So it's funny we're talking about a 2-7 team all of a sudden going 6-3, but
there was good mojo in that room yesterday.
Yeah, and MBT said it in his post. Well, what did he say? They should have been. I think he said they should have been 5-0. I wouldn't go that far, but they maybe easily could have been 3-2 or 2-3 instead of 0-5. Another question for you guys, if you don't mind.
I mind.
What did you think of Jarius Jackson's apology to Gino Lewis?
Very surprised by it because he unprompted did it at the end. I was not aware of the record that Gino Lewis had, and. It was sincere. It was very sincere, and he went out of his way to bring that up. And listen, again, watching Gino Lewis, I saw him a lot on the fringes of the sidelines outside the bench, and he actually did like a little fist bump after they won, like to himself, like, all right, like we got this.
Well, I think he's still invested in the.
Absolutely,
but that Gino had a catch streak of 70.
It was like 8 years long.
Yeah, where he had at least 1 catch in every single game.
And
that fell yesterday because he had 1 target, didn't catch it, went through his hands, didn't have any other targets.
And I could tell he was kind of pissed off. I didn't know if it was listen, players do things their own way, especially in football. They're very dynamic, they're unique. And Gino was off on his own a lot last night, and I happened to notice him as I was walking up and down the sidelines, and then I did notice him do like a hearty fist bump to himself after the final whistle went, and I was like, well, I think that's a good sign, but I had no idea about the reception streak, and Jarius doing that, and I sincerely believe Jarius Jackson would be the type of guy that would be like, we got to get this guy the ball.
Could have given him a little flip on
just to make sure.
Thing,
and I listen, in football and hockey, in all sports, there's ways to make those types of things happen.
Or at least make it more likely,
and I think Jackson is sincere when he says, if I knew, I would have gotten him the ball somehow.
So who told him after the game, I wonder?
I don't know. I don't think it was Gino.
No, I don't think the player would go up to the coach, be like, "Good job, coach. Hey, my streak ended tonight."
I don't know
Who told him? I don't know. Or maybe it was something he knew about but didn't think of during the game because you're in the moment. I don't know.
Maybe he just looked at the stat sheet after and he saw Gino didn't have a catch. Geez.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he did or something because I can't imagine what goes through a coach's mind the entire football game.
But and I'm glad you brought it up because that's why I wanted to ask you guys about it, is because Jarius Jackson was not asked about it. The post-game scrum ended, and then he said, "Hey guys, I hope you will air this."
Yep.
And he said, "I want to sincerely apologize." And when he started saying that, I'm like, did he
I hadn't.
What did he do wrong?
Did he yell at a fan? Like usually when a guy says that,
stops the media. He says to the media, "Hold up, come back, guys. Keep those mics here."
It's not about a stat. It's about something that happened in the community or something or somebody on a front office person on the other team is sick or passed away. And I
thought he was going to wish Halsey a happy 90th.
Yeah,
honestly,
something like that.
He did
His 90th?
Yeah, they gave him cake last night. Happy birthday, Halsey.
I don't even know what
looks
the day is,
amazing.
Yeah, Halsey's incredible. I remember
for the age, it's all right there, and he's amazing.
But anyway, when Jackson said that, I thought, what's he talking about?
I wonder if Gino is quite frustrated though, still, of this season as a whole, and that's just
they don't throw to him a lot.
No, he's just looking. He's 19th in the CFL in yards for receiving. There's a lot of games he hasn't had a lot of targets.
Right
now, there's the ways of looking at this. Is it because he's getting double teamed and he's opened up to other receivers, so they're looking at these other receivers? But the flip side of that is he's such a good receiver that you could throw to him winning coverage and he's going to catch that football.
Yeah.
So why isn't he getting those targets? Why isn't he getting those throws? And there was it one of the Ottawa games or was it the Hamilton game? Might have been the Ottawa games. He was frustrated afterwards. He spoke in the media. You could tell that he's quite frustrated that he's not getting the ball. So is this they're seeing that there's this frustration from Gino and they're trying to make sure he's good, because those when you're a top receiver in the CFL, be very proud and you want the ball. You want 100 yards every game.
Who's our yardage leader? Who's the league yardage leader and the Elks yardage leader?
McInnes leads the way at 834 yards. The first Elk is Dylan Mitchell at 12th at 458 yards.
Oh, I thought it would have been Gittins.
Gittins Jr., he's at 430.
Where's Mayala? Mayala's had.
He's getting a lot of touchdowns,
but
Gino is 405. Mayala's 337.
Okay.
And target-wise, do they do targets on here? Or do I have to look at it a different way? Targets, here it is. Gino has 55 targets. Gittins has 65. Mitchell has 51. Mayala has 40.
I'm surprised.
So he's second.
I'm surprised Mitchell's that high.
He at the start of the season he was getting the ball a lot. Mitchell got off to a hot start this season, and then it's kind of he's also a guy that they haven't been looking at.
Well, I think
really...
Gittins and Jones is a great story the last couple of games.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you throw to him? I think Gittins is a very good player. I liked him with Toronto and Mayala, but it's kind of been the guy. It's like, okay, who is this guy? And he's been pretty good.
He's been excellent, yeah.
But I just feel like with Lewis, they're not throwing. Do you remember that when they won the Labor Day the Labor Day rematch, the play before the faithful field goal, Ford just hit him on that quick slant, and 8 yards, and he ran for a few more. He doesn't. They don't seem to be throwing that to him, like something quick where he just can outpower the guy.
Let him get creative.
Yeah. Also, with Gino, just send him deep and throw the ball up. And we saw it with, I think, Ford.
They did it on that third down gamble in Ottawa.
Was it that one?
Yeah.
But he'll go up and he'll jump and grab that ball.
Yes.
Now, I think with MBT at points this season, they didn't have the time to do that play. But the O-line has played a little bit better, but that's also because of the way Trey Ford is, and I'm just surprised they don't go a little bit more with that. But at the same time, when the ball's going to your hands, you have to catch that ball.
Yes.
There's one target yesterday, he didn't catch it. But there's wonder, is there a guy that's just also so frustrated that he's not fully there right now because he's personally feeling like his season isn't where it should be.
I don't know.
So that's something to keep a watch on.
But they won.
Well, they're on a winning streak.
But
and here's the thing: they go beat Hamilton, and it's okay. I'll give a loss to Montreal because they are right now the best team in the CFL. There's no question
by far.
okay, you go that Labor Day first game against Calgary. Can you go get the victory? Because if you do, 4 of 5 going into the rematch at Commonwealth Stadium on that Saturday, how great's Commonwealth going to be?
More than 18,000, great.
Should be.
Hopefully, yeah.
We should be with the conversation leading up to that. I hope will be:
31,000.
Are they going to open up the upper deck or not? Should they open the upper
Man,
deck
I
or
hope
not? Type
so.
of thing.
I hope so. I don't know if they'll get to that,
Yeah.
But if they're selling 27,000, or that's how many tickets are out at a certain point, you sit there and, well, do you look at maybe trying to get there? And if you announce we're opening up the upper bowl, does that get a few people going, oh, I could go sit in my seats again?
Oh, I see. What
You know, like that's.
Oh.
But there's even that part. So does that get a few more? But in the end, you're getting there if
Good
you win.
question.
If they go lose to Montreal and they lose to Calgary, I'll be intrigued to see what the buzz will be like going into the rematch, because they've been on the road for 3, and even if you beat Hamilton, it'll have been a few weeks since you won.
Right.
So winning that Labor Day game and winning against Hamilton will be huge. And then we're also looking at playoffs, because the BC Lions, the Elks actually aren't that far away from the BC Lions now. They're 6 points back.
Well,
Yeah, it's
They're
3
3 games
games
back.
There's a lot
I'm just
to
going to say
make
this.
up over 9, but-
Winnipeg gets BC this week. If Winnipeg beats BC and Edmonton beats Hamilton, you're 4 points back. And the Elks have the season series. They have the tiebreaker,
That's crazy.
Against the Lions?
because the Lions beat them by 3 points. The
Oh, yeah,
Elks
that's
beat them
right.
big yesterday.
Yeah, that's
The
good.
Elks
that's
will
good
have the
point.
season series against the BC Lions.
Yeah.
So you just have to go tie those BC Lions, and you get the tiebreaker. If the Lions go loose on Sunday and the Elks win, they're 2 games back of the BC Lions.
Or do you want
It's crazy.
Or even though the Elks just beat BC and Saskatchewan, do you want those 2 teams to just win every game, and you're just trying to get third ahead of Winnipeg and Calgary?
See, and the thing is, BC doesn't play a lot of West teams the rest of the way. They get 1 against Calgary, 1 against Saskatchewan. The majority of it is actually they get Ottawa twice. They get Toronto in there. I think they get Montreal in there. I think they get Hamilton in there. BC, for some reason, gets like this East-heavy schedule the rest of the way. So it's not that helpful to. So either if BC goes on a run, it maybe helps the Elks get a crossover, or BC maybe keeps losing, and Nathan Rourke gets signed early, and the Elks catch him that way.
There's another thing here. Like, where's
Yeah.
what happens to him?
I stand by my conspiracy theory, which is I think he's waiting to come to the CFL for next year so he could go to the BC Lions, and the BC Lions can move on from VA. But they don't want to move from VA on right now because it's Grey Cup year in Vancouver, and they're a contender, and they don't want to rattle the market, rattle their team in that way of sending out their leader of VA.
And the best quarterback in the league.
I think if you can get the best quarterback, you sign him.
And they'll do
I
that
don't know what
next
their
year.
cap situation is or their salary management.
And that'll happen in
situation is,
2025 when they bring Nathan Rourke in and sell a bunch of jerseys.
Yeah, it's so the thing with Rourke is he's an incredible quarterback, obviously. I really thought he might be able to be a backup in the NFL. But was this 4 teams now?
Yep.
So he's not going to make it.
Jags,
I know he's not
Was he with the
sitting there and
Jags?
saying,
Jags
"I
to
prefer-"
start.
Pay at Pats, Giants,
and
Falcons.
Falcons.
Was there
right?
anyone else?
Was there another one?
I thought
You
there
said
was another
Pats?
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't there another one, or maybe there wasn't?
Moving on from Rourke.
Jags to
That's
Pats.
Bill Belichick. We're moving on from
Moving
Rourke.
on.
Yeah, I guess it would be just those 4.
Yeah.
So he's not going to make it in the NFL.
No.
So how long does he?
And
keep
he's not at the
trying-
pension point, because you have to be on the active roster to get
Oh,
those
right.
games
Yeah,
for
of course.
pension. So it's not even be on the practice roster to get the pension. You have to be on the active roster, and I think he's only been on 1 or 2
So what
active
point
rosters.
does he just say, "I want to play, and I'll accept being a hero in Canada for 10 years
And make $500,000 a year.
and make way
plus
less
endorsements.
money"? Yeah. Oh yeah, he'd make some endorsements, sure. I mean, he'd still have a nice degree of wealth. It wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't be American.
2025.
You think he sits out the whole year? I don't know.
I think
the
he
team-
signs with. I don't think he goes anywhere else but BC, and I don't think BC will be in that position to sign him just yet.
Okay.
What does this do? Remember you were talking about like Chris Jones pushing out Trey Ford, making him upset. Nathan Rourke comes back. Say he goes to BC. Then you got to free up Vernon Adams.
You got to trade VA
VA goes
this year,
wherever. Maybe it's Hamilton. I don't know.
right?
Or Ottawa. Ottawa's
Hopefully
gonna need a
Hamilton.
quarterback, right?
So then Trey doesn't go there.
Exactly. And then new ownership comes in, and all of a sudden Ford has a fresh start. Everything's good. People love him here. That we already know. Like, this could be a ripple effect blessing in disguise for the Elks, potentially. That's what I was thinking about when I saw the news that Rourke was let go by the Falcons.
Everyone's going to have a lot of attention on Rourke, and helps maybe convince Trey to stay here.
Okay.
Trey staying here comes down to the owner. That owner, when it gets announced very soon, it's going to come down to, does that owner want Trey Ford? And it's going to be a conversation they're going to have. Because you've talked about it with like the Oilers, with Draisaitl and McDavid. Those contracts are done with Daryl Cates involved.
Yeah.
Trey Ford's going to have the owner involved.
Right. So here's the thing. If we want to play the what-if game.
Sure.
I love what-if games.
And we all know I only like doing that so much because I prefer reality, Tom. But so there's going to be a new owner probably by the end of the month. I don't know I know the name is rumored, but we'll just leave it for now. I don't know the guy or the guy's personality. I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
But if you're the new owner of the Edmonton Elks, how much is he going to quote unquote meddle? I know meddle's more of a negative sounding word. How much is he going to involve himself in player personnel decisions? I would hope very little.
Yes.
I would hope, as we talked about a couple of years ago, he hires competent people and lets them work. But if he's also sitting there, like if I'm buying the Edmonton Elks, and it's not me, by the way, everybody.
So, let's play this game.
Do you not have to come in and say, all right, what is the biggest splash I could make as an owner in the player personnel department? Would you not have to look at Geroy Simon and Rick Lalacheur and say, it is Nathan Rourke. He's the best player available. We must sign him. I don't care whose feelings get hurt. Mm-hmm. As a new owner to a team, is it not your duty to do that?
I think you could get away with it doing it with Trey Ford. You could do it with Trey Ford. You could go with number 2 and say, we're going to sign Trey Ford, we're going to plaster him on billboards, and we're going to sell some tickets because this market loves Trey Ford. Well, sure. The issue I have with Nathan Rourke for Edmonton specifically is you're going to have to command a lot of money to go to him, and this team needs to fix other problems. Cap-wise, this team can't afford to bring in Nathan Rourke.
What if Nathan Rourke just says straight up to Edmonton, no?
Well, of course, and that's what Matthew's saying, is that he's only going to go to the Lions.
I do believe that, yeah. He'll also go to the Lions, but I'll put that aside and say there's going to be the Nathan Rourke sweepstakes, and I don't think there's a single team that wouldn't be interested in Nathan Rourke. I don't think there's a team right now that has a quarterback. Maybe Montreal, because they won a Grey Cup, and if they go and have a great season this year, they'd go, we're not messing with that. Right. There's no other team, I think, that would sit there and be like, we're good. Nathan Rourke's there, we don't need him type thing. But to make that splash, it's there locally already. You are that new owner. You could go to Rick Lalacheur and be like, and Geroy, and say, go get the deal done with Trey, get a 4-year extension done. I want to sit there, have a massive press conference and say, number 2 is committed here. I'm committed to Trey. Let's do this together. Right. And you don't need to go get that big splash because you've got an equivalent big splash that the market already knows and loves.
Well, I'm sort of changing topics here, but in terms of what you're talking about, potentially signing Ford long term, which would probably be only 3 years in the CFL, and then marketing him. I mean, we were talking about vibe and getting fans out and all that kind of stuff. In my mind, and maybe I'm in the minority here, one of the failures of the franchise has been not marketing some of the players enough. Now, I'm going to go flashback 8-9 years, and maybe this isn't relevant anymore, and probably some of the people involved aren't even with the team anymore. They win the Grey Cup in 2015 with one of the most incredible runs, quite frankly, in franchise history. I mean, even those 5 in a row teams,
they were fantastic.
All
defeated after Labor Day.
You win your last 10 games. Riley comes back, doesn't lose a game. So in the spring, they put up. This is what I remember anyway. Maybe I missed something. In the spring, they put up billboards. Yellow background, green stripe, font, season's tickets starting at this price. Do you not have a photo of Mike Riley, sweaty and champagne soaked, holding the Grey Cup from after the game?
How about him?
Come see your Morley had that. Morley had that great line.
Yeah.
I know you couldn't use the audio on a billboard. Morley had that great line when he scored on the quarterback draw for the dagger touchdown against the Stamps. Hey, Edmonton, there's your quarterback. Imagine this billboard. Riley's got the Grey Cup. Your quarterback returns.
Yep.
June 15th versus Calgary. Tickets, Eskimos.ca, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah. a couple things come to mind. You're right, like yellow with green stripe, missed opportunity. At that time, the Oilers were so bad, and that was right when McDavid had come in.
Right.
And I remember the year prior, the Elks were starting to build up the first year with Jones and Riley, obviously, after a couple of years. And you came up to me one day, and I think we were at an Oilers practice, and you go, could you arguably say that Mike Riley is the most popular athlete in this city right now? And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. That's when he became the man. He was the man. He was like the last Elk that was the man. You know what I mean? Like, that's our guy.
There was a small window.
It was a small window because it was either him or Taylor Hall.
But there was at least that small window in which this guy's very good and he wins.
Yeah.
He's not the best player
and that
on a
was
team
it.
that's
and
frustrating people.
That's
for
what
a
you were
decade.
getting at. And I looked at you and I was like, yeah. And we were at an Oilers practice and we're talking about Mike Riley or Taylor Hall. There was no Connor McDavid at that time. This was prior to. And I, unprompted, like you do, curious mind, as you have, you're like, who is the number one athlete in the city right now? And I'm like, just tell me, because I'm not good at these.
I'm sorry I did that to you.
No, I love it. And it resonates because I was like, holy crap, Reid's right. Mike Riley is the guy in the city. And it was a very small window, but it was true. And then the next year he proved it. They went and won that. And yeah, like that was your guy. And that was the last time this team had a guy like that where you're like,
well,
he's excellent. We can trust that guy.
And I kind of hate saying that because I believe it's about the team, and you don't want to necessarily make one player seem more important. But if you're marketing, who's everybody talking about?
There's different salaries. Everyone knows. Everyone else is different importance. You know, the quarterback's always going to be more loved.
Yeah.
I don't think a team would care fully about that.
Yeah.
But can you market trade for it on billboards?
Yes.
Then that's where this is with the new owner. That's where I want Trey Ford.
Absolutely.
I don't need Nathan Rourke as much because I could do anything with Nathan Rourke with Trey Ford.
So to me, when you're saying sell the vibe, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, I am not a person who says, "Oh, there's gonna be an Aerosmith cover band at halftime, and the hot dogs are $1 off." That's not why I go to the games.
No, exactly.
I'll pay full price for a hot dog. Yeah. I want to go pee at halftime or look at the stats or talk to my mom and dad or whoever. So the vibe I want is you're exciting me for the game because you're reminding me, oh yeah, Trey Ford plays for this team. Mike Riley plays for this team.
Right.
You know, like
the football team's good enough. I want to go watch them.
Of course, the price point matters, but as long as it's within a range of what somebody is going to pay, that's not really what you need to advertise on a billboard.
Yeah.
You need to say, TV commercial. Trey's run against Calgary last year. Trey jumping into the end zone in Saskatchewan and doing the finger roll. Radio commercials with Morley's calls. That's. 100%. To me, that's how you build the vibe. There's excitement with these players. There's excitement with these teams. It's not about come for Dino Day or whatever. Though
Dino Day was nice.
Dino Day was fun, but I just feel like it's harder when they're losing. But to me, market the players, market the game, get the excitement around that. I remember when I went to Philadelphia in 2008. I went to Philadelphia. I went to a couple of Phillies games. Went with my buddy for like 3 or 4 days. Hung out. And driving in the cab from the airport to downtown, because in Philly the airport's kind of
away,
not as far away as Edmonton.
Yeah,
well,
but it
might be close actually.
Yeah,
but it's south of the city, I think. And you come in, there was a billboard with Jason Smith. And it was like we got this hard because remember they acquired him and they immediately
for Jeff
made
Sanderson and Yoni Pitkinen,
and they immediately made Jason Smith the captain.
Yeah,
so they were marketing Jason Smith, who, all due respect to Jason Smith, would not be considered a star player in the NHL.
Correct.
He would be considered very, very good at what he did,
functional,
but he would not be considered
never
a star
flashy.
player.
No,
but they put him on a billboard in Philadelphia because here's the new guy,
captain.
and he plays the way that we think we play here in Philadelphia.
Yep.
They haven't been the Broad Street Bullies for a long time. But anyway.
Happy 90th.
So that's what I'm saying. You know, what do you really want to sell? Ultimately, people are going there to watch a sport. So it's fine if you can get them in there with Dino Day or Country Day or whatever. But there's still a performance going on the field. That's ultimately what needs to be sold.
Reid, there was an ovation for the first offensive series, as you know, last night, as Trey Ford took the field. When the hell was the last time you heard an ovation for the offense to go and take the field?
Some people stood when he got introduced.
Yep.
And there's a guy in my section who somewhat annoyingly has appointed himself the leader of the Trey Ford Should Play fan club.
No, sorry. I'm the president of the Trey Ford fan club. I've been saying that for months.
In terms of yelling.
I'm standing by that one.
And he was yelling
That's
all
my
through
position.
the third quarter. Where's Trey? Like
Oh,
I finally went up to him. I finally went up to him during the fight song. I was like, "Hey, man, like
Trey's hurt.
I think Trey's got a rib injury." Yeah, but TSN says he's not ruled out, and I hate these coaches. I'm like, all right.
He's not part of my fan club that I have at Trey Ford. I'll say that one. He doesn't have a membership with us. Well, even at Centric Casino, like as the older guys are there betting on the ponies and stuff.
As they do.
As Jay and I did as well yesterday. We had a lot of fun with it.
Did he bet on the gray ones?
I bet on a gray one and won.
Did you win?
Yeah, I won a little bit. I was having some fun with it. It's great because you watch the game and when commercial happens, I go run to like a machine and just randomly make bet. I just look and gut feeling. And then you sit down and you wait for the race to happen. It's awesome. But like they're all just making their comments about the team. And it's all about Trey Ford. Well, why isn't he should have been there starting? He should have been there earlier. There's how that coach. And they all know Trey Ford. You can tell they kind of know the team, but they're not fully invested, like sitting down watching every game for the full 60. But they know Trey Ford.
Yeah.
They know who number 2 is.
And it's not
and they know it's exciting.
Yeah. It's not like how the backup quarterback or the backup goalie is sometimes the most popular player. But you haven't really seen them play.
Yeah.
Like we've actually seen. That's the thing with Ford. We've seen him play.
Yes,
we've seen. He's not the like when people wanted to put Dan Crowley in if Ricky Ray had a bad game.
I remember Dan Crowley.
And it was like, hold on, everybody. Crowley's thrown like 14 passes in garbage time in the last 3 years.
Was he
like,
not the
down.
Ottawa Renegades starting
quarterback? Then he went to the Renegades. That's
terrible.
Right. Yeah. But whatever, I don't know if anybody actually
great
really
reference,
wanted Crowley
by the way.
over Ray, but that time where it's like, well, we got this guy from the University of Northern Cuba.
How dare
come he's
you
not playing?
besmirch Bart Hendricks' name like that?
Bart Hendricks.
Well done. Great pull.
Third string quarterbacks.
To Siggy, Maddie bets on cute names. I did bet based off of a name. There was a horse and it won. Devil's Red. And I bet that because I'm a Red Devils fan of Manchester United. So I don't look for cute names, but I do. I also bet on
names?
There was Arrakis. Lost, but Arrakis is from Dune. So I'm like, hey,
That's
I like
right.
Dune. Bet on that one. So
Jeez.
I do bet
the
somewhat
spice
based
flow.
off of the names. Not for cute names, though. I look for what's like, I connect with that one. And I did it decently. So I have no problems with that. I'll say that. This is the EST Hangout live on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Reid Wilkins with you here. Reid Wilkins with Jay Milne. The Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne coming this fall to Edmonton Sports Talk from 3 until 6. We're getting closer and closer to announcing
3 weeks tomorrow we start.
Midday show from 1 to 3. Jasmine will also be on the Hangout on a regular basis. One of the nasties out there who's in the nasty chat during the morning show.
What up, today. Jasmine?
But Reid, yes, he's joining us full time. Well, he's joined us full time. But the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne coming very soon to ESTs will be 6 to 6.
Very excited about this. I have not had an opportunity to speak about it on air.
No?
Briefly on the morning show today, filling in for Rick. I'm very excited.
Well, thank you, Tom. So am I.
What a get. I had people texting in from like New York being like, no way you guys got Reid.
I think you're exaggerating.
I am not exaggerating.
I
swear to God.
Was it Gary Bettman?
Yeah, it was. Gary said you got Reid Wilkins. No, it was people that knew our market very well, and they said that is a huge get. And I was like, we're not messing around over here. So, Rick, I am super excited.
Well, thank you, Tom. So am I. I was saying this to the guys. I've said it on air. Like, what a dream summer this is for me. Like, I get to say, sometimes, hey, what are you up to these days? Well, I'm between jobs. But unfortunately, the person's unemployed. They don't have the next job yet. I am literally between jobs because the last job ended, and I know when the next job officially starts.
Yep.
So I'm very lucky, and at this, because I turned 50 in April, so it's kind of like that. Actually getting sort of a summer vacation like you used to when you were like, it's almost the dream. Like you would, how
you were talking about catching up with friends.
Yeah, like you sit around and talk with your friends. Like you get into your 40s and then you kind of have a career and you're doing the same thing and you're like, yeah, I love it, but man, could you imagine getting like 6 months off or even like 3 months off? I'm not getting that long, but actually having a break. And yeah, I have seen some people I hadn't seen in 2 or 3 years, just catching up, having a lunch, having a beer or whatever. So I'm extremely lucky. Yeah, I was going to say young man, middle-aged man.
No, you can say young man. It makes me feel good.
I don't know why that would make Tom feel good.
I do want to quickly talk about your other job that you've got coming up right away here. But September 17th, it is the ESTs. And I know on the morning show today, you guys started the discussion.
Yes,
we now are in the nomination process of the various awards today. The first one, it's going to come down to the vote. There's no other nominations for it, but it is one of our marquee awards that will be handed out at the ESTs, and that's Show of the Year. So all of our major shows, they're up for nomination. You got the Nielsen Show, you got the Hangout, you got Lock Shop, Two Guys, Oil Stream pre and post, Green and Gold kickoff and post game, Hello Hockey, and the VIP Golf Show. Show of the Year. That I'm trying to do I go 3, 4, or 5 finalists?
4.
4. That's a good number.
3 or 4.
Yeah, I don't want to be too high. So 3 or 4 of those. So the Show of the Year will be one. I think the favorite right now, if we're on Cool Bet, it is going to be the morning show.
Yeah.
I think the Nielsen Show would be odds-on favorite.
Listen.
I think Oil Stream pre-post might be up there as well.
Like, is there a specific episode you're picking for Show of
the
Year?
No, that's a different. No, this is just overall, just the Show of the Year.
I thought you guys wanted to name a specific episode.
That's to come. Don't worry. Don't worry. That is to come. But
I thought today, Hello Hockey would be the front runner, but evidently not.
It's hard to go against Dusty and Eric, I think, in this with the love of the nasties.
What's wrong with me and Sean Bell? And Trev? Ouch.
Hey, look, I'm not picking me. I'm not picking
Saturdays,
Hangout.
10 to noon.
So that's going to be exit of the year is the other one.
Hangout.
Best exit for an EST event. Did you guys have some good ones come up on the morning show? I think Tracy came.
Your name came up a lot, yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't exit. Oh, with
Sticky Rice came up.
Wait, what exit of the year did I have?
Eric came up.
No, that's not show exit. It's exit of the year from an EST event. That's what they wanted, I thought.
Oh.
We have, because that's a different one award.
Sorry,
that was this is the one that Dusty wanted when we were at the end of the Nasty Batch. He wanted to exit of the year from leaving an event.
X-Ray J, Normology, Sticky Rice, a.k.a. Norman Combine's wife, Tracy.
Yeah.
Who else? What'd you think of the Nasty Bash, by the way?
Well, it was incredible.
That was phenomenal.
They had me on the Monday after the Nasty
I know.
Bash,
I'm sorry. I was out of town.
Yeah, you were traveling.
Yes. So I missed.
There might have been some people that didn't hear what you thought about that.
Did I say overwhelmed? I was. It was because I didn't expect that level. Like, I knew it would be fun and exciting, but it even exceeded that. And when they introduced the new shows and then me as part of that out of the mascot costume, I thought it would be kind of like like almost a golf clap. Oh, cool, it's Reid. Right on, buddy.
Hey,
let's get back to drinking. But the people actually were cheering and exciting. I was a little overwhelmed.
That was a phenomenal party, and I remember that, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah, and I'll never wear a mascot costume again.
Nor should you. You wore it very well, I will say.
Did you look closely at the contract?
I did. Did.
There's nothing about mascot.
Joke's on you. He doesn't know how to read.
Well, I'm just.
that's dark.
Well, there's that.
You, man.
Does it at all say
an illiterate man?
Does it at all say or roles as assigned or anything?
Yeah, it does say duties as necessary.
Yeah, so
like
having
said that,
as a company, we still have the mascot of
feel
ability
free to
say
refuse any.
Yeah, I think I could have some right of refusal on that.
Just
really,
Zach the Cummer Trouble, do it.
Yes.
VR Montenegro says I tune into Hello Hockey for the backscape and coffee talk. And he also called you and said the rest of the show is meh.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you, Michael. I met with one of our fine partners from Backscape yesterday, Brendan Willie. Willie, shout out to you. And they apparently there's a lot of hairy dudes out there that have been buying backscapes because of Hello Hockey. So I'm very happy to hear that. We're looking forward to season 3 of Hello Hockey. But VR Montenegro, well played, sir.
So yeah, that's the first awards being announced there, which is or categories: best show of the year of EST and the best exit of the year. Nasty Club annual members will get an email late August. They'll have a few days to vote on the finalists, and then I will have a panel of 3 afterwards, who will ultimately take those finalists and determine who the winner is. Then September 17th, Estes. That's going on my list today. This week I want to announce ticketing for that. It'll be like $10 to get in, but the process to get your tickets and all that. We've got the Metro Cinema booked. So we've got room. We've got lots of room. Let's try to pack
Metro, that's the Garneau.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's just establish this. Like, I'm going to wear a tux.
It's going to be,
like,
no, it's,
let's,
I don't want to say full black tie. I would like black tie, but it's like, no, it's dress up.
We got to do the shorts and t-shirt thing at the Nasty Bash.
Yeah.
Let's go dress up and have a time and go into a theater and then get a little bit rowdy after.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want an after party. I will still have to talk with Dusty about the idea of at least an ESC stat day, or the morning show doesn't start the next day. We start at 9 o'clock on the Hangout. Either way, I'm good because... Well, I don't have to show up till the Hangout anyway, so it's really up to the morning boys if they want to show up or not. Yeah. But we want to. I want that to be our first ESC stat day, if anything, or partial stat day, where we go out and have an after party somewhere and really do it upright.
We have so many options. I'm very excited about this. You're crazy, we're crazy, and every event that we've done has been super fun. So this is going to be another one.
Suit jacket, tie, top hat, jorts. Perfect outfit from Lori.
Top hat. That's the other thing about Riley. Remember, he used to wear the hats?
He's one of the few people that look good with those hats on. Yeah. The other one was Milan.
But Jillian's
yeah, that guy anything could look good on Milan. He's the better looking one in that group, of that duo. The EST Hangout, the official drink of the EST Hangout. It is 2 Hoots, real brew tea, big taste, bold refreshment. It is a fantastic drink for nice hot days. Yesterday, 2 Hoots would have been great. Outside today would be a great day, but be sure to get your 2 Hoots. We got that 4-liter box in front of us that I'm gonna have to jump into right away.
Is that the costume I wore? That bird on there, or is that something?
No, that's Smash Math. Smash Math is for the birdie booze.
The birdie juice. What's it called?
Birdie booze.
Birdie booze.
Gotta learn these things since you're jumping on board.
You'll find that if I don't want to learn something, I just don't learn it.
Well, I'm saying you might want to learn this one. It is our drink, after all.
No, I of course.
Yeah. Smash.
I don't have to drink it on the show, do I?
No, it's up to you. That's up to you.
Well,
if you want to, go for it.
Mr. Rules, eh? No, drink on air if you want.
He's a stickler.
I'm literally about to have a 2 Hoots at 10:10 in the morning here.
I might join you.
So it's like, yeah, I'm not. We don't care.
All right.
Especially if it's ours. We're good with it at that point.
Fair enough.
You have a job coming up.
I do have a job coming up.
Because when does
which are we doing first?
I was going to go
show
Fringe
segment or the Fringe?
I was saying Fringe.
Okay. Yes. Well, I'll show this.
Let's go. Let's see it.
I'll show it in a couple minutes. So the Fringe starts Thursday. I love the Fringe. It's my favorite Edmonton festival. So I volunteer, which is not there's a minority of people, one of whom I used to work with, who was like, so what, you like go and you act and you write? I'm like, no, I volunteer. I'm not a performer.
Yeah.
You're not putting in a show.
Right.
You're helping out put the event on.
Right. So I think this is the 9th. I don't even know. I think it's the 9th year I volunteered, because the first year it was 2013, but I haven't done every year. Like I didn't do 2017 or 18. I didn't do 20 and 21. So I had 8 or 9 of the last 11 or 12. And it's great. So I started doing information services where you're in an info booth. So you sell programs. People be like, where's this venue? Where's the bathroom? Mm-hmm. I liked it, but it kind of got... And I mean, it's a volunteer shift, so sometimes there won't be much to do. Sometimes
right.
But the one thing, this actually frustrated me. And the Fringe people probably wouldn't like me saying this, but I feel like I
just
can say it. So, there's a lot of shows in the evenings. A lot of shows start at 7 or 8. And obviously, and you guys know this from being Edmontonians, because either you've done it yourself or you know people who like they will make their own timetable for the Fringe. It's like they buy all their tickets ahead of time. There's my shows on Thursday. There's my shows on Fridays. That's how long it takes me to get around. And then there were other people, and these were the frustrating people to deal with at the info booth. It's like 7:50 in the evening, and they come up. Are there any shows that start at 8 o'clock? Yeah, about 40, but you can't be sarcastic. You want to be,
Be that guy this year.
Yeah, there's some shows starting at 8. Oh, well, which ones? Well, several. Let's look in the program. Okay, all these. Okay, well, what are they about? So you go through each one in the program. By this time,
so you have to read the program to someone.
Yeah, you have to like show them the program. Well, you any comedies? Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's go to the comedy section, and then usually it gets to be 7:57. They go, oh, just forget it. This is stupid. Like, okay, well, it's not my fault. You
that was
didn't
an
plan.
exercise in
or
nothing.
If you wanted, yeah. So anyway, I did info. And now I'm doing box office, which I like way better. Like you get to use the software and sell tickets.
Yeah.
It's a little more. Well, and the interactions take a little longer because despite what I just described, the info.
You're a
booth,
people person.
I really am.
Are you?
Thanks for noticing. But a lot of it at the info booth was literally like just so quick. Like, where's venue 3? Keep going. Turn right. It's a red bill, or right there, or where are the bathrooms? Go that way. So they're quick interactions, usually. Though I did have a scam artist once at the info booth. Did I tell you guys this? Okay.
No, how?
So I think this was my second year doing it, so probably 2014, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a while ago.
Bless you.
And I was in the one they have, I don't know if they still have it there. It's in kind of the bus lane, 83rd Ave and Gateway, kind of facing the gazebo.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So I was with a couple of younger people. Like they might have like even still been in high school. So if there was anything or like somebody had a really I usually wound up handling it with them. They were a little newer to it. So this guy kind of all of a sudden appeared across the bus lane. Probably late 30s, fairly normal looking guy, and he's like bent over and he's hunched over. He hands into these. And he's just like panting and looking around, like kind of one of those like this guy. You just get that vibe he wants to be noticed. You know what I mean? Like he's in the middle of the Fringe, and he's like, and then he kind of makes eye contact with me, and he's like, I can't believe it. I'm like, okay, I better say something in case this is a medical issue. We have people we can call or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, well, I thought this was a good festival. I'm okay. So right away, my senses are up.
Red
like
flags are flying.
And I'm like, well, what can we help you with, man? And he had, so I can't remember all the details, but he had some story about his bike being stolen. And in the Fringe program, you could cut out bus passes and cash them in an info booth to get a bus ticket.
Okay.
And that's something that they wouldn't give him a bus ticket at another info booth because he didn't have the coupon out of the program. So he's very mad, and he's borderline kind of insulting towards the people in the other end. And right away, I'm like, okay, something's wrong with this. And I was like, hey man, if your bike was stolen, like there's a police station right over there. You should probably check in.
Please proceed.
Well, I'm visiting from like the States. How does that help me? And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. If there was a theft, you need to tell the police. I don't know if your hometown. I think he said he was from Boston. I'm just like, this is such. But I can't go up to him and tell the guy off because who knows what he's gonna do. So
you're an ambassador.
Ask him a Red Sox
So he says. So then he's complaining that they wouldn't give him a pass, and he's like, "I thought this was such a great festival, and Edmonton was a nice city, and you guys steal my bike." And I was like, "Well, the police station's right over there." And finally, I was just like, "I don't know what to tell you, man." And he's like, "Well, you're no help. You're just like all the rest." I'm like, "Okay, have a good day." And he's sort of, and then a higher ranking, like they're called team leads. They're like the boss of the volunteers.
Yeah,
she showed up. And because she'd gotten a vibe from the previous info booth that they were like, this guy is like not cool. So she tracked him down, and he called her a bitch, and she was just like, okay, we're getting security.
Yeah.
But it was just like, what is this scam? Like he's going through all this trouble to try to get a free bus ticket, or maybe a couple. Like I don't know I don't know if there were substances involved or whatever that
Probably.
perhaps he was using.
I would assume yes.
But that was the only thing that got a little uncomfortable and a little like, okay, like where is this actually going to go? Like how far is this guy going to push this? But anyway, so now I'm in the box office, which is either you're in the Arts Barns or you might be in one of the satellite locations. The Arts Barns are the nicest ones because it's inside. And so, you just got to learn the software, how to print tickets,
Is there something satisfying when the ticket is printed out?
It really is. Yes, it spits out of the little machine and it tears off and you give them the tickets.
I was thinking that exact thing when I was getting my boarding pass printed, and I'm like, there's something oddly satisfying about watching this process.
It is a good feeling.
Thing?
Yeah, it is a good feeling. Yeah, it is a good feeling. And the only issues that come up with the box office is that people want refunds. And we have a no refunds policy.
What did the refund because they didn't like the show or they didn't make the show?
Usually because they didn't make the show. Okay. But when you sell them the ticket, you say no latecomers, no exchanges, and no refunds. So if there's ever a refund, we just get a team leader right away. And I think occasionally I've seen, there was one year there was a show canceled. Oh. And all of a sudden, all these people are coming to the box office. They're like, I want a refund. We can't give refunds. Well, this person didn't, the performer didn't show up or something like that, or they canceled last minute. So, but the people at my level can't give the refund. So I like it. I like being on the grounds.
Rick, is it true that, celebrities show up sometimes? Like, I heard Zach Galifianakis.
He was here a few years ago.
Wandering around at the Fringe.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
There's photos of it. He was there quite a few years ago.
Colin Mockery has a show this year. Speaking of celebrity
Seriously?
shows, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
FringeTheater.ca. It's the 43rd Edmonton International Fringe, 15th through the 25th.
Yeah.
We'll throw this out there. They're still in need of funds too.
They are. Yeah, it's too bad.
They got a shortfall. I can't remember what the rationale was, but they needed, I think, $2 million. And they're really in need of financial aid to make sure that this keeps happening. And the one thing about the Fringe is it's world renowned.
Yes.
Like this isn't just some event that's in Edmonton. This isn't something that's just happening. Oh, look at it's actually recognized around the world as one of the best.
Yeah, it'd be one
Fringe
of the top
festivals.
5 or 6.
Yes.
Like obviously,
isn't it like a
there,
long?
I think Adelaide, somewhere in Australia.
And that's why there are the celeb stories every so often is that they come is because this is such a world event. That we have here in Edmonton. It's like Calgary Stampede is world renowned for their Stampede. We're actually world renowned for the Fringe. So hopefully that it could keep going and keep progressing.
Check it out. Buy a ticket. I mean, and it's more.
I think they're short 200,000 for this year.
But go into a theater and see. And most shows are an hour or less.
Right.
Check something out or find someone like me or someone who goes. Hey, what's like? I'll recommend a couple guys. Scratch. They're an improv group. It's 2 guys. They've been doing it probably 20 years. And they made a movie a couple years ago, How to Ruin the Holidays, with Colin Mockery.
Nice.
And it's they're originally from Edmonton. They now live elsewhere, but they always come back and do the Fringe. They take 3 suggestions from the audience. So they might say, give me a TV show, give me a life experience you had in the last year, something like that. And they mesh these 3 ideas into a 1-act play that takes about an hour that they improv on the spot.
Wow.
And it makes, it's absurd and funny, but it more or less makes sense. And they're just great. So anyway, but I did bring a prop. Well, it's not a prop. I have been in the Fringe twice as a performer. It's been a while.
I kind of know about this.
My first experience was in 1995. I wrote a play. Still one of my best friends, Janice Spence. Her name was Janice Thompson at the time. She has a play in the Fringe. It's the one with the Swedish title, everybody. It's Brother and Sister Build IKEA. I saw it. It was performed at a 1-act festival a couple years ago, and she's bringing it to the Fringe. So there's another recommendation for me, for everybody. So the first play I did, so I wrote it and Janice directed it. I also performed in it. I still have a shirt. It was called Video Pig. This is from 1995. We got the world tour dates on the back.
That is classic.
Which is
the dates at the Fringe.
The King Edward Academy. We were one of the King Edward.
Venue 9, Academy at King Edward.
Academy at King Edward.
World tour, all right.
With the 5 dates.
I can't remember who drew the pig. It might have been Janice's boyfriend at the time. So that's Video Pig. So I don't think this shirt has ever been worn. T-shirt. I think this has just gone in my closet and moved with me whenever I moved. And I was like, I should take it. So the play was about a plastic pig that became a music video star.
It's very 90s.
Yes. And then in 1997, I acted in a sketch comedy show called Lime Green Llama.
What was that about?
It was just a bunch of sketch comedies. There was just a bunch of sketches. Somebody else wrote it, and I wound up being in it. Yeah.
When?
I don't know why it was called Lime Green Llama, but for the parade, we rented a llama.
There's a parade?
I don't think there is anymore. There used to be a parade.
We're getting rid of all of our parades. Kate isn't have
We've rented a llama and paraded it through. I have to.
It's a little bit different than when my buddy at his stag rented a billy goat that was forced to be put in its cage when the performers showed up. But it reminds me of
amazing.
that. Yeah. The billy goat just walked around.
Teacher Arlo says, boys, if you like music guitar, I can't recommend Chase Padgett.
Oh, I still
enough.
have not seen
Amazing,
him.
He says.
I want to see him. He has a couple shows that
So
he does.
the Fringe, it's North America's longest and largest running Fringe theater festival. It has 216 theater productions across 38 venues with more than 1,600 artists from Canada and 11 other countries.
I believe Winnipeg is the second biggest one in Canada. I think I should have checked this. I think Tampa has the biggest one in the States.
Tampa's sneaky cool. They have
But internationally, it's like Edinburgh, I believe Adelaide. Is that Adelaide's in Australia, right?
Yeah.
And I think Auckland in New Zealand has one. And then, there's a couple other ones. But Edmonton's right up there. It's pretty cool.
Quick thing, because we had like Jerry in here, and then I saw that when I was away, I saw what happened in Calgary with that crazy storm. But then the last day of Heritage Festival got canceled, and they were short funds, and that's a huge
Food Bank took a huge hit on that
bank. It's a huge fundraiser for the food bank. Obviously, it just seems like we're I know things are not great for everybody right now, but like feels like there's a lot of shortfalls coming up in these public venues and events that we have, and traditional ones. Hearing that about the Fringe, and then seeing the unfortunate result of the last day of Heritage Festival, Spirit of Edmonton, like maybe it's a sign of the times, but it's kind of sad to hear it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think, with the Fringe, it's still followed from COVID, I think.
Okay.
And with
Yeah,
the
sure.
Heritage
Ripple
Festival
effect.
is in a different spot.
It was
And
at Borden Park this year, right?
Because
and then the storm. You can't do anything
being-
about the storm.
Because Horlick's under like the 2-year renovation or whatever it's being called.
Yes, whatever they're doing. Are they putting in a beach? Is that what they're doing?
At Horlack?
Oh.
Yeah.
That was the big plan. I don't know if it's still part of
play
what
beach
they're
volleyball,
doing
Tom.
to it.
Let's play beach. Beach volleyball team.
Yeah. Are you guys going to go represent Canada and be the next? You guys will be the women duo, but you guys will be the men duo in 2028. We're going to watch Gazzola and Wilkins lead
imagine
Canada.
that if we made
Yeah.
the Olympics?
This run in 2028 at the Olympics, the two of you in
Middle-aged,
beach volleyball.
average-sized men.
I think the only thing that now at our age, and you're much younger than me, that we could make the Olympics in would probably be the shooting or archery. Or maybe equestrian. We'd have to
equestrian.
learn-
Didn't we have like
We'd have to learn horseplay.
so good to have you with us.
So just quickly on the Fringe, they needed $300,000. They hope to raise by the end of this year's festival. They've raised $100,000 so far.
Okay, good.
They say the festival is still recovering from the $3 million loss it incurred by canceling the festival in 2020.
Oh,
Right.
That's where this has come
and then
from.
2021,
And-
it was quite. It was, I believe, was much smaller.
And
than
it
usual.
says it has not received any increase in funding from the city or the province since the pandemic. So as everything costs more and everything's gone up, they're not getting that extra funding to help them with those costs. So they need to raise it
Well, we have to-
because they're fearful that they'll have to cut 1/3 of this year's programming.
It's a good
And if you
thing.
buy it, sorry, Tom.
Oh, it's just a good thing we're building an arena in Calgary and not a hospital here and not
my
funding public
goodness.
events. I'm just going to say it.
If
Terrible.
if you buy a ticket to the Fringe, there is a bit of a administration fee on the ticket, but the artist gets almost like if you buy a $17 ticket, I think it's like $14 or
Nice.
something. I'll know once I'm
Good.
doing box office. But that's the thing. It's not like, oh well, how much is the Fringe take? No, the artist sets their price, and then the Fringe just puts a little bit of administration fee on top of it. Really, the artist is getting all the money, which is pretty cool.
That is good.
This is the EST Hangout. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Reid Wilkins with you here. Want to get to Road Warriors, which is brought to you by AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers, custom manufacturing heavy haul trailers. No patch jobs, better than new solutions, trusted by the leaders in the heavy transport industry. Get on the road with peace of mind for your large loads. AccuSteel.ca, the team that's looking to be Road Warriors tonight. It'll be the Edmonton Riverhawks. They're looking to punch their ticket into the next round of the playoffs in the WCL as they're taking on the Bellingham Bells. Lost game to yesterday out in Bellingham. Beat the Bells on Saturday at Remax Field. Tonight the game gets going. You can catch it. I think it's about 7 o'clock. I'll have to double check the time on that one. But you can catch it on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio as we will have the game for you on our stream as they look to advance. And then it goes into single games series. Next round is a one game best of one, and then the championship's best of one. So it's a little weird how that takes place. If time zone's correct, 7:35, I believe it will be. Because it's saying 6:35 on here, so I think that's 6:35 in Bellingham, which would be 7:35 here in Edmonton. So 7:30, EdmontonSportsTalk.com will have the Riverhawks as they look to punch their ticket into the next game. 7,500 people at Remax on Saturday. Although I wonder if that's people coming through because they only scanned one of my 3 tickets to walk in. But he was like, well, she's standing there and she scans my ticket, and I was with Ryan and Lucas from Whale and the Wolf. And I'm waiting for her to scan the other 2, and she's just like, wrists. And we're like, excuse me. Like, we didn't understand what she's doing. And she just, like, slammed the stamp on all 3 of our wrists and, like, go in. As if we were supposed to know she was only going to scan one of them.
Oh.
It was really weird. But so if that's what they did a little bit, maybe they had higher attendance.
So can they have another home game or not?
No.
I
I don't believe it.
Well,
I guess I actually should see what happened in the other series. No, Wenatchee won. So Wenatchee. Oh, no, they play tonight then, too. Wenatchee and Victoria play. I think Edmonton's higher than Victoria.
So Edmonton got 3rd in their division?
Yes.
Okay. Because they were going for first.
But I wonder if travel reasons they'll keep the Riverhawks out there. Because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I saw the Riverhawks actually finished higher than Bellingham, but they got the 2nd seed. Because like when the Riverhawks announced that they were getting the Saturday, they said due to travel reasons. They're playing the Saturday and Bellingham gets the next 2.
Oh.
I think because then it gets the single games that like Victoria's right out there. Do you just stick around and go straight to Victoria and play that game? Because then if you win, you got to play the next close one. Like Edmonton is this outlier in this league, and they do play for the travel. Yeah. So I'd be intrigued if they would get that next game if Victoria somehow happens to take down Wenatchee.
That was something I was gonna say earlier. Is like we have to realize we're talking about vibe. You know, you riffed on that rightly so. It is a short season college ball league. Mm-hmm. That's what the league, the West Coast League, is. So like this is just kind of like a formality. So that's why it's like loose with the playoffs and
Surveyor Brett says if they advance and Vic advances, they would be home on Wednesday. But I don't know. Nice. Did the Riverhawks say that?
Yeah. Again, short college ball.
Yeah, what did they
league.
play? 56 games?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Like after the MLB draft, what'd they lose? Like 5 guys to the draft. One of them signed with the A's, went immediately to, I think, their single A team and their catcher. And they lost like 8 guys to college shortly after. So, like, this league is a filler league for the summer. And you know what? It does a good job.
And it gives the players a chance to play with real bats, like the bats you'd play in the pros.
It is an
right.
MLB.
Not the Nerf bats they use in some of the college leagues.
Well, they don't get to use the wood bats in college.
No, I know.
And they use wood up here.
Yes,
which is
the league the prospects is in. They use the metal bats, I believe.
Do they?
I think so.
I'd have to look. I don't recall.
Something about the crack of the bat.
I do have to. Don't roll anyone's eyes here. Do have to read this tweet. Bob Stauffer, 10 minutes ago. Okay. Hearing there's a very good chance that the Edmonton Oilers' Evander Kane won't be ready to start the season, that he may require surgery and is likely to be on LTIR to start the season, which goes against early reporting from this summer, which said he'll be healthy for training camp. But Bob's tweeted out there just now that he won't be ready for the start of the season. A good chance that he won't be and may require surgery and likely be on LTIR to start the season. So, if you're wondering how the Oilers are going to get below the cap situation for the season,
There it is.
That might be it.
And still the argument
Without having
that
to make a
that's-
change.
And somebody called me last week and said they should have put him on LTIR midway through last year. And just brought him back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Play the game. Other teams do it. Start doing it.
Yeah.
Play this game too.
I
just don't know how far you
show
can wait.
saying that.
Was
Might
it
have been you. No, it was him.
Oh,
I was not as much last year. I was in it after the wrist.
Matt that called.
It was the wrist injury when he got cut against Tampa. At that moment, I said, put him on that LTIR. Don't bring him back to playoffs. Hold him
the
out.
wrist injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have held him out that season and brought him back for the playoffs. I was saying that the entire time, and it's like, go make a trade, bring in a wing forward. At the time, like, I know it wasn't going to happen, but Patrick Kane's name was rumored. Like, go get Patrick Kane. Good. And then
That was a ridiculous rumor, by the way.
But then you could still go get your defender. Like, you can actually still do two things here. And then when the playoffs comes, you'd have that forward with the defenseman and Evander Kane, and how great could have it been?
Right.
So, but I think with Kane, because at one point I guess the surgery changes it. Maybe you could hold him out for most of the year. Play that game until the NHL stops it. Until the NHL puts in rules, play that game as if you can. And here's a chance for the Oilers to play that game.
Yes.
Sure.
Not so sold. You need the player to agree with it. That's the big part here. You need the player to agree with it, saying,
yeah,
I'm willing to still sit out, even though I think I might be healthy. And you got to be like, well, you're not. And he has to be like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not.
Yeah.
But he has to want to do that as well.
Yeah.
So it kicks the can down the road at the very least a bit for when it deals with how the Oilers get under the cap this season.
Gets them closer to that modified no movement clause in March.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That changes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He won't be on the team next year.
No.
It's just, for cap reasons, just for the reasons.
Or the year after?
The 25-26
right,
season.
okay.
Like, he won't. I don't think we'll be talking
Does he
about
have a
Evander Kane
10-team
then.
list?
I think it's 16.
16, okay.
In a perfect world, he's not on the team this upcoming season.
And that's mostly like it's a cap thing. You're looking at the cap situation of this and go, he's expendable with a high price point.
Yeah.
You want to get to something that you're going to be bringing to the Reid Wilkins show with Jay Milne?
Debuting September 3rd, 3 to 6 p.m. weekdays
Hot
on
damn.
6:30 Chat. So we're going to be doing something called Reid's Top 3. So it could be anything. Just my top 3. So with you guys, and this is fun discussion as well, I have Reid's top 3 weird things about golf.
Weird things about golf.
So
You got me.
I'm going to
hooked.
start with.
Let's go.
Now I double checked this. This is no longer something that is allowed. They ended it in 2017.
Okay.
But it's still worth discussing. And it actually has a Wikipedia page. I'm not going to read all
Looks
these.
like you have a TV script.
But
there.
there'd be more. There'd be more than just these.
Like
and I know
this here, and then your
it's like
scripts
an
on the
Yes,
Excel
side.
that's
sheet
right.
that you would be very impressed with.
So no, this I printed this just off Wikipedia. I will have an Excel spreadsheet for some of
I
the
want
stuff.
nothing to do with it.
So up until 2017, one of my 3 weird things about golf is television viewers could call in and point out rules violations.
Yes.
So
Didn't that
there's-
happen in the LPGA?
It's
Yes.
happened a lot in the
And it
PGA.
affected? Yeah,
Like you're saying recently?
Well,
a couple years ago, someone called in.
I thought-
It happened quite a bit on the PGA.
I thought it ended. I thought I read
That's
it ended in
BS.
2017.
Maybe that's just PGA. Maybe LPGA is like, we're still good with this.
But so including a very notable one involving Tiger Woods in 2013. So
Masters?
I'll read this one. I'll summarize it. He hit into the water on 15
At the Masters?
par 5. At the Masters. Yes.
Okay, thought so.
And now the guy who called in was a pro golfer and a rules official, but he wasn't working the Masters. So Woods dropped, and he took a drop further away than he had hit the ball. So you're supposed to drop between the water hazard and your original shot.
Yes.
He liked the yardage better, so he wanted an additional 2 yards. And then he technically signed the wrong scorecard, and technically should have been thrown out of the tournament. But they just gave him a 2-shot penalty. He committed the foul on a Saturday and called in on a Sunday.
I'd like to
much-
say I hate this person that called in.
Well, who sits
David
there,
Hager.
watches, and be like, I'm going to ruin this for Tiger.
But
here.
there's
like, I'm going to pick
there
up
are
the
people
phone.
that would do that.
And it's just,
You're an idiot.
just let it be.
You're an
here-
idiot.
But here's some of these incredibly, and this is because they can zoom in on the ball. Camilo Villegas in 2011, a TV viewer pointed out a rules infringement on his 15th hole. After twice chipping up a slope only to see the ball roll back to him, he brushed away some grass in front of his divot while the ball was still rolling, which I guess you can't do that. So he should have taken a 2-shot penalty. He didn't. He signs the wrong scorecard. He's kicked out of the tournament. I mean, disqualified, but basically kicked out of the tournament. Garcia replacing his ball incorrectly in 2013. A guy, Adam Scott, grounding his club in a hazard.
Okay, that's fine.
Something happened with DJ.
That's valid. You can't ground your
So
club.
DJ didn't know his score when he won the U.S. Open. That was.
But there was a bunker thing with because he didn't know it was a bunker.
Oh, that was the 2010.
There was something with
2010 PGA. That wasn't a viewer.
No.
But these incredibly detailed things, like a guy nudged a rock while he was setting up for a shot. So to me, now I guess some of these were technically violations, but it's also
they
like,
were.
Did he actually improve his lie? Did he actually? And they've changed some of the rules.
Thank
too,
God.
Right, about
they loosened up.
Right, and if you accidentally brush the ball while
The
you're
double
lining up
tap,
your putt, you're okay.
yeah.
But I just find this so. I always found it a little bit absurd because I'm thinking, like, how do you even get the number for the like if you called most? First of all, if you wanted to call the NBA, if you're like, you know what, LeBron slapped Curry's arm when he was shooting the three, and the refs didn't. I'm going to call in. Where do you get the number for the NBA? I mean, there probably is something online.
Is there a rules
Nobody's
hotline?
answering.
Yeah.
Nobody's answering.
They don't care.
You know?
So they had actually, I never thought of that part of this. The PG had someone manning a phone.
Yeah, they actually have someone, and they'll actually like.
And they
can
marked
you
it down and they
Hello,
gave it to
PGA.
someone.
Can you imagine the NHL? Like, first of all, if you could actually get through to, I know hockey's a quicker sport and you can't. It's harder to go back and fix stuff like in golf. But
Yeah, but Tiger was the next day.
Can you imagine even in like hockey? Gary here. Really? A trip? Are you sure it wasn't called? Okay, I'll look into it. Like, you'd be laughing, be like, "Oh, real? Oh, okay, thanks, sir."
Yeah, thank you.
Somebody answered that call, took down the note, handed it to someone, and somebody went, "Oh, we should look into this."
Yes.
Went, got the video team together, pulled it up, and said, "We got a violation here. We got him, boys."
He's
But
out.
if you want,
And do you call back and tell him, "Thank you for your service"?
yeah, what do
He
you
was
get?
in
Tickets to
violation.
the Masters. You should get tickets to the
I
Masters.
feel like the person that did that would validate themselves by calling into the local media and be like, "That was me.
I did it.
I'm a rules guy. This is the purity of the game."
I like rules, but I
You
would never
dork.
do that. I'm just throwing that out there.
These people are dorks. I'm sorry.
Some of these are incredible. Like here, the guy touched the line of his putt, which you're not supposed to do.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
that was Simon Dyson in 2013. But they're actually people. If you want some free reading today, or just maybe not want to do any work, there's a Wikipedia page, trial by television in golf tournaments. And again, I know Wikipedia is you're not supposed to use it as a source, but I remember some of these, and there's all links to articles when it was covered. So I think it's pretty accurate.
This is just making me very frustrated right now.
The ball move, a ball moving before a guy addressed it or as he was addressing it. Tom Watson penalized in 1980. So 1980, television microphones picked up a comment from Lee Trevino saying that Watson had advised him to change his stance during the final round at La Costa. A TV viewer called officials to highlight the rule breach. Watson was asked about the incident and admitted giving Trevino advice. He was penalized 2 strokes, but still, you're not supposed to give, talk to your...
You can't ask what club did you use and all that.
Yeah. Like all this...
Dork.
All
you
this
are
stuff.
a dork if you do that stuff. And people pride themselves on this stuff, and that's the one thing I hate about golf is how stuffy people are.
This is
Pisses
prime
me
example.
off.
So
which will be another one of my things on the list, sort of.
So that's number 1 weird things of golf.
No, my reads.
Or is that
one.
number 3?
That's number 1. Well,
So
whatever order.
Okay.
So number 2 is. Now this is going to sound strange when I say it, but I'll get into it. My number 2 weird thing about golf is that we play 18 holes.
Okay.
Now, I'll summarize this. Why do we play 18 holes? St. Andrews initially had 22 holes. Sorry, you played 22 holes. They had 12 holes. You played 10 of them twice because you went out and back, and the other 2 you just played once. And then they combined some of the shorter holes into a single hole, and you got it 18. So because St. Andrews had this layout where they played 18 holes, every golf course is 18 holes.
There was an urban myth out there that the reason golf's 18 holes is that's how long it takes to drink a bottle of like whiskey or
18
something.
shots. Yes,
Yeah,
I've read that one.
There is that myth.
That's
out
false. That it's a bottle of whiskey is 18 shots. So now I understand some people might be saying, well, yeah, but it had to start somewhere. That hockey was 3 periods or 60 minutes for most sports except basketball became sort of a standard, whatever. But 18 is like it's not divisible by 10. It's not divisible by 5. It's not based around
like why isn't it 20?
Should take 2 hours or 3 hours, right? So, but I also think this leads to the discussion now about 18 holes. And Tom, you and I have probably talked about this at some point.
Yes.
Like if you invented golf now,
we have talked about
how
this.
many holes would a round be?
There is a course that just opened up
Right.
with 12.
Seba Beach went to 12.
There's
Well,
talk
not
about
here,
going
but
back to
there's
12.
I don't know where the 12 was, but there's one I just saw
That opened, and Seba Beach
And a
went
bigger
from
one,
9 and
it's
expanded
12 now.
to 12. Because even people, and I like golf, I don't play as much as I used to, but even a lot of people who love golf will say, by the time I hit 14, 15, I'm kind of done. Even if I'm
No,
playing
I get
well.
that. I understand
Like
that.
it's a long time commitment. Like you
Yes.
go to a busy course on the weekend, it might be a 4.5 hour round.
Yeah.
And then you're driving somewhere, you're
Yeah.
driving back, you got to get home, maybe you got to pick up the kids, maybe you got to go it can be
It's a day.
exhausting.
It's a day.
It's a day. And so if golf were invented, if you could invent golf today, like if somehow you could wipe golf out of everyone's memory except your own, and you're like, hey, I know what to do and how to design courses, how long am I going to make these courses? I have 2 arguments. 12,
which is the standard, I think, for a lot of people.
Two-thirds of what it is now. So you got about a 2.5 hour round. Maybe 3.
Okay, I have
maybe.
something to say about that.
But then my other thing is 15, because it's divisible by 5, and you have 9 par 4s, 3 par 3s, 3 par 5s. Par is 60. Instead of 72, you get another par that's divisible by 5 and divisible by 10. And then, okay, it's a little longer.
No, but that's fine.
At 15 holes. But a lot of people say, usually around 14, I'm feeling like I'm done.
Yep.
I'm going to go further on this one.
Good.
I'm going to go 20.
What?
Because you can get to 880. 2 par 4s makes it an 80.
Right.
For the golfers out there, they can go a full 20. I would love to golf 20. And if you don't want to do 20, you could do 10. You're cutting it at 10, which is divisible by 2, divisible by 5, all that. So it's like it's not fully to 12, but if you just want to do half of it, you could do 10 holes. Otherwise, for the golfers out there, you can do 20. I'd rather do I would want 20. I don't want less. I want more. So I'd want 20 personally. I have no issues with 18. I'm not a person that is like 18 is too long. I always do 18 and feel like I could do another 9.
Oh, yeah.
So
see, I don't.
Give me 20, and then people that don't want to golf 20, they could do 10, and then it's pars 80.
And look,
Thanks,
it probably depends on how good you are, how often you play,
I'm
how
crap.
much you truly enjoy it. And I do think there's a difference between playing on a weekend. I mean, Tom, when you and I used to go out,
Yeah, we
as
go to
you know,
Riverside.
because I had a couple of buddies who would want to play early. So you could play.
You
play,
wanted
Yeah,
to
he
play
hates
early.
the early one.
I don't know how you guys do it.
Pat Galenza was in last week from Nate, and
nice.
he's an early morning golfer too.
Yeah.
He was saying.
Yeah, well,
So
Loves
you
it.
could play.
Pat has energy.
You
Like,
play
I don't-
Riverside in under 3 hours.
Yeah,
You tee off
and that's
at
what we
4:07.
would do. But
Yes, I'm
I would
sorry.
only
I'm
do it
sorry I
because
did
of
that
you
to
and
you.
Dahmer.
Pine
I'm
Ridge
sorry.
Golf Resort, Seba
Seba
Beach.
Beach.
That
Yeah,
is
has
the 12 holes.
I played it a few years ago. And I played it when I was a kid growing up by Evansburg when it just had 9. So anyway, that's my number 2 weird thing about golf is that it's 18 holes because that's how Scottish
I
people
like this
did
because
it.
you made me get angry at the dorks who
Yeah.
call out people on the
Yeah.
TV broadcast.
Well, this is
I like the conversation about. Oh, that's what I want to say. Okay, so I've been fortunate to play at some private courses south of the border, where basically they
Augusta?
had. What? No, not Augusta. I wish. Where they had free reign of the course, and they will play around in 2 hours.
18.
An 18
Driving.
in 2 hours, and they're driving, and
Yeah,
they
just fine.
these people they essentially own the course,
Right.
so they drive on the green. It's unbelievable. Like I'm just like, what is going? Like 10 carts, but they own the course, and it's one of the most prestigious courses in the world. And I'm like, and they're playing side games the whole time, and it's a different pace, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, let me play my ball. And they're like, let's go, Tom, let's go. You're dragging us down. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't even think about my next shot. It completely changes how you think of golf. So I understand where we come from with playing less holes and how that might change things. But when you can just zip through, and if you can play around in 2.5 to 3 hours, it changes everything. And there are some courses. I did it in Phoenix. We played on a super hot day. We got a round done in 2 hours and 43 minutes, I think, my uncle and myself. And it's a game changer instead of a 7-hour round on a weekend.
Yeah.
Josh Clausen says 20 would be great. I finished 18 this morning and thought just a few more holes would be incredible, but it would be a nightmare on weekends.
Yeah.
Josh, you did a great job doing weather in Saskatoon. Inspirational.
We've got about 5, 6, 7 minutes left.
Okay, good. I got one
get
more.
To number 3.
So and this is what this is going to be when we do Reid's top 3 sessions. I read top. We'll have discussion around them, maybe meander a little bit.
Can you make me yell about stuff
Yes.
more? Thank you.
So the number 3 thing I put down is that for the everyday golfer like we are, we're not pros, we're not playing in tournaments. We don't agree on how we're going to cheat. because here's the thing, if like 8 people got together to play hockey, road hockey or shinny, they got the community rink, they're going to have to modify the rules. They might agree, hey guys, we don't have goalies, so you can't shoot from outside the hash marks,
right?
Or you have to hit, we'll put a pylon, but you have to raise it,
like,
or
to score you got to hit the post, not because there's no goal.
Or whatever, yes. Like you're going to agree, we're modifying the rules. We're not quite playing real hockey. In golf, I feel like everybody, and as you know, Tom, I'm pretty much a stickler with rules. Like I take penalty strokes.
You're not calling into the PGA though.
Right, but if I'm behind a tree and I don't want to try to hit it and I drop it, I take a penalty.
Yes,
I take a penalty shot.
Same.
But even the guys who are fairly strict about their scores, like if I hit a 35-foot putt and it stops 4 feet from the hole, Tom, and you're waiting for your shorter putt, you're knocking my ball away and you're giving me the shot.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to miss that 4-footer 15% of the time.
Me too.
So I'm shaving a stroke every 3 rounds off my score by you giving me that gimme. But I golf with somebody who will not take a gimme. Slav will not take a gimme. He putts out all the time.
Good for you, Slav.
So we kind of don't agree on what we're doing. And then I've golfed with people. Like I said, I'll keep a score. This happened to me a few years ago. I was golfing. I got paired up with a couple other people, and one guy wasn't that good, and I keep my score, and I did pretty well for myself, like probably 90 or 91, about bogey golf. And I hear these 2 guys walking off, and the one guy who wasn't that good goes, "Oh, I shot 86." And I'm thinking, like, how did this guy shoot 86? Like, he probably lost 7 or 8 balls. Like he was taking drops, and I think all he did was count the strokes that he took.
Oh.
So to me, if I was that guy's buddy, I'd be like, dude, that's not an acceptable. But in his mind, that was an acceptable level of cheating, whereas our acceptable level of cheating is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
You might give me a gimme.
I'll give you I'll give you a 2-footer.
Right.
I'll be like, pick it up, Reid.
Yeah, those are fine.
Iwanyk, nice chip, pick it up.
If you're below 90, if you're scoring, I better believe that you did it legit.
Yeah.
And that's the way I go. That's where, like, for me, it's like, I will also golf, like, I'm behind a tree or something. I'm not kicking it out if I'm playing for a score or something. I am legit trying to get my score. If I'm going above 90, going to get close to the 100s, I then just stop caring.
Yeah.
And then I'll do a little more. I'll cheat a little more, if you will. But I'm also then not bragging up my score after because it's nothing special. But if you want to ever brag about your score,
brag it up.
If you're so that guy's saying I got 86, it's a really good score.
Yeah.
No, then you got to learn the rules because you didn't get 86, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would call that person.
If you got an 86 and you took 3 gimmies,
no,
and maybe one was a little long. Okay, whatever. Maybe you're having a good day, but a lot of people are listening to this and saying, "Why do you
within
care?"
reason.
I know a lot of people are listening to this and say, "Why do you care? Why do you even keep score?" That's my personality. I can't not keep score when I golf.
It's still a competition.
Even internally.
Even if I'm just
sometimes you're playing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. You have a personal best that you're trying to beat.
Absolutely.
But that's the thing. My weird thing is the everyday golfers would not agree because we all cheat a little bit or we all take shortcuts to speed it up.
Everything's different.
Right. Our understanding.
Like mulligans, like you go into the start of the round, you sit there like mulligans, like 1 per 9,
breakfast
1
balls.
for,
yeah.
all that.
The only thing I will take is my first tee shot.
The breakfast ball?
Especially if I hadn't played all summer.
The rationale I heard behind the breakfast ball is just pretend you ended one round and you're starting a new round. That's why you can get away with the breakfast ball, that you have a shot, the first shot goes in the trees, and you're like, round's over, I'm starting a new round, and it starts from there. Whereas you can't do that the rest of the course. You can't just be like, my round's over.
I'm 3 off the tee if I mess it up, or I go hit my 40-yard drive.
I've done it. I've taken a breakfast ball, but I've done it less and less the more I've played. So when I was younger and earlier in my golfing, I would take it.
And then the better you get, you don't want to. Like Matt was saying, you don't want to say I shot 80, but I ignored 4 lost balls.
Yeah. I won't take a mulligan until I know I'm probably not going to break 90. Then I'll take a mulligan.
Yeah, then
I won't take a mulligan. I legit will not take mulligans.
I do not take mulligans.
I don't want that.
I'll do it eventually. But again, it's not like I'm not going to come in one day and be like, I shot an 87. If I say that, I didn't take a mulligan. Because I was like, I only eventually take that mulligan when I'm going, my round's done. I'm now just need to work on my game a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm going for a 94, 95. Yeah, if I come in and say I shot a 95, there's a chance I took 1 or 2 mulligans or something.
But some things we do for speed of play as well. Like I treat, like if I drive into the woods off the tee, I don't hit a provisional. I go look for my ball.
Yes.
If I don't find it,
and then you
I
drop
drop,
there.
and it's my 3rd shot.
Correct.
Technically, you're supposed to go back to the tee and tee off again. But I just treat everything like a water hazard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then, slight cheating, but like you said, Matt, if I'm driving into the bush, it's probably not a great round for me. So if I shot 98 or 96 or 102 or 101 because of these penalties, not a big deal. But yeah, if I'm getting a score that's going to count for my handicap, I want it to be
I also think there's a little bit of like the pros get people looking for their balls. The rec golfer deserves
and that's has had his ball into the open.
The one thing I will say is I actually am okay with, though, if everyone agrees, if a ball is hit pipe down the fairway and everyone comes up and you can't find that ball and we all sit there and we're like, that was down the fairway. I'm okay being like, that's a free drop.
Oh, for sure.
Take that free drop there, because where the hell did that ball go? We all saw it go straight.
Literally.
It's in the fairway. It's not like it went to the rough. Like, it should be in this fairway. Take that free drop.
I've seen birds. I've seen squirrels. I've seen rabbits knock balls. Like, it happens. Golf is a gentleman's game, and I feel like gentlemen tend to BS every now and then, and I'm okay for a little bit of bullshit on the course.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
You're a good golfer.
Stop it.
We were having a conversation last week about if we did an EST like decathlon, and everyone had to pick one sport to bring in. I didn't know yours until I realized you'd probably pick golf.
Oh,
and you'd be the favorite winning it.
I wouldn't be discus?
I wouldn't go up against cats.
So there'd be a decathlon,
but we all pick our
an
events.
18-hole.
Well, it was our version of it. We're not doing the actual decathlon. We all pick events, and so for you, I think because you'd also be the favorite to win the golf.
Yeah, I'd probably beat everybody here. Yeah.
I said I picked the 800 meter because I think distance-wise I can catch people. I also said I think I could get Belzy, not in 100, but in a 200.
Belzy is fast.
I know. I think I could catch him in 200. He did concede, saying I probably would catch him in a 400, but no chance I could do it in 200.
You are nimble.
So,
how did we do in discus at the Olympics, by the way?
I don't know. We won hammer.
That's all.
We're a hammer nation.
Boom.
And a breaking nation.
Yeah.
Phil Wizard.
What was our guy name?
Phil Wizard.
Phil Wizard.
Yeah.
Is that his actual name?
No, they go by different things. Like the one of the Chinese women was 671.
Oh, sick.
She was awesome. She lost, but she was 671.
How about
Phil
the
Wizard.
Australian girl that was like the meme?
And breaking isn't going to 28 apparently. Yeah, she was the full meme. But actually, like if you watch the men's and stuff, it was actually really awesome. I enjoyed it. It won't be back in 2028.
It was cool.
One of our 9 gold medals.
We'll take it.
That's what somebody was joking about that, like Summer McIntosh and Phil Wizard. They have equal standing. A gold is a gold, no matter what. Yeah. Phil Wizard would be like, I want it with breakdancing. Summer, I was in the pool dominating, and we each have a gold. Reach gold medalists.
The equestrian. We had 70-year-old equestrians competing for us this year.
Oh, did we?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
They went to the Olympics in like the 70s.
It's all the same.
Cool.
A medal's a medal.
That's what we got to get into.
Yeah.
Well, breaking's out.
Top 3.
It's not a part of the list of 2028.
They already dropped it?
I think going in that LA didn't want it. And I think boxing's also out.
What?
Right
Why?
now. As of right now, boxing is not on the schedule of 2028.
Wow.
Yeah. But lacrosse is scheduled to go in, I believe. Cricket is supposed to be going in as well. and flag football.
It's just one game for 2 weeks.
The match lasts.
They qualify around the world leading up, but it's only 2 teams that get to go, and they're just going to play a long cricket match. 28. It's there's a lot involved with that one. Like a few
Cricket's
changes.
growing.
What?
It's growing.
In North America.
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah, it's pretty big around the world already.
Yeah.
From what I've been told. You saw that one cricket guy.
What was his name? Tindalar. He's a nice guy. He was wearing pleated slacks.
Oh, nice.
And Sachin Tindalar. And
There's this.
had no idea who he was. And turns out he has like 50 million followers.
Pretty big star.
Yeah.
Pretty big
they're
star
huge.
globally.
Yeah.
The Reid Wilkins show with J-Mill coming as of tomorrow in 3 weeks. Is that what you said? 3 weeks? Is that
Boom.
3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks from tomorrow.
That's coming on Edmonton Sports Talk this fall as we go 6 to 6. Reid, have fun at the Fringe in the box office.
I plan on it. Thank you for having me, Matthew and Tom.
Coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk, we got the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss. That's coming up next. Our Cool Bet Lock Shop partner parlay for the CFL. We lost by half a point. We needed 50 yesterday.
Be better.
We got 49. The parlay fell that close we were. And then at noon, it is the oil stream. That's all coming here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports for those listening on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. On behalf of Reid, Tom, I'm Matt. Thanks again for tuning in to the EST Hangout. Lock Shop in a few minutes right here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go. Right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear.